There was a small German town named Hamelin. Hamelin had a big problem with rats. It started off with only one rat that called the town home, but more and more came every day. Soon there were 5 rats, then 50 rats, then 500 rats. They were in every house and every shop, running through the streets and into people's bedrooms. It was a menace, and the problem needed to be solved. The mayor held a town meeting in the city hall to talk to his townsfolk and see what could be done about the rats. "We can use the cats," someone spoke up, but the mayor shook his head. "All of the cats have become too fat to hunt," he said. "Besides, we have thousands of rats now, but less than 50 cats. They couldn't eat this many rats, not even in a year." The door to the city hall opened, and in walked a tall man. He was very thin and wore a red and yellow striped outfit with a belled hat. His shoes were long and curly, one yellow and one red. In his hand, he held a long gold pipe. He shouted across the hall, "I have heard about your problem with rats, Mayor. I have come to help you." The mayor was puzzled. "How might you do that?" he asked. "I will show you, sir. But first you must promise that if I free you from your terrible troubles, I will be handsomely rewarded." Hamelin was a wealthy little town, but the mayor was miserly and didn't like to part with money. "All right, stranger," he said cautiously. "If you can rid us of the rats, we will pay you 1,000 pieces of gold." The piper agreed and led the town out into the main square. Rats were darting in and out of street corners and up from the sewers. He put his pipe into his mouth and began to blow. The townsfolk couldn't hear a thing. They were very puzzled. Then the ground began to rumble and shake. Doors wobbled open and windows creaked. First, one rat scurried towards the piper and waited at his feet. Then 10 rats, then 50, then the whole square was filled with them. The piper began to walk out of the square and towards the beach, with all the rats following him. They danced around behind him in little circles to the sound of music that only they could hear. Their tails wiggled and their paws were raised to the sky. Onwards the rats and the piper danced, over cobblestones onto the sand. The rats followed him right into the waves and were washed away into the sea. The piper had kept his promise and got rid of all the rats. He returned to the city hall to accept his payment of 1,000 pieces of gold. "Well, it's wonderful that you got rid of the rats for us," said the mayor, "but it only took you half a day. Don't you think 1,000 pieces of gold is too much for half a day? I'll offer you 10 instead." The piper was furious. "Pay what you promised, Mayor, or this town will deeply regret it," he said. The mayor simply handed him 10 gold coins. The piper was so angry that his face was redder than his suit. Back in the square, he put his lips to his pipe again. This time, it was not rats that came to him. Instead, all the children who could walk got up from their beds, left behind their toys, and stopped eating their dinners. They rose slowly in a trance and all wandered towards the main square. Just like the rats, the piper led them from the town and out towards the mountains. The mayor and all the townspeople wept. For days, they all wore black and flew black flags from their church tower. A town without the laughter of children was truly the saddest place on earth. The piper watched the town from the mountains and saw their sorrow. After some weeks, he returned to the mayor's office and said, "I see the pain your people are in. Would you reconsider your decision?" At once, the mayor pulled 1,000 pieces of gold from his safe and shoved them into the piper's hands. "Anything," he cried. "I will do anything to bring our children back." Finally satisfied with his fair payment, the piper blew soundlessly on his instrument again. From high in the mountains, there came the sound of laughter and singing. The children were dancing back to the town. The Pied Piper went to the roof of the mayor's office and shouted over the city, "Let this be a lesson to you, Hamelin. Never let your miserly mayor try to weasel out of a bill again. Now you can understand that when you don't pay those who provide you with a good service, their children will go hungry because of you." The mayor listened and remembered the piper's words, as now he had known the pain of paying the highest price of all. Never again did a bill go unpaid in the town of Hamelin.